Guys, what's going on? It's Ben here. I am back again today doing another video. The subject of today's video is going to be another trade scenario video, specifically regarding Kevin Love. Kevin Love has the distinct honor or dishonor, I don't know which, of being the first three-time subject for a trade video from me. So I think the two-time club includes him, Drew Holiday, maybe a couple of other guys, but Kevin Love is the first player whom I've done three different trade scenario videos on, this being the third. There's been a lot of renewed interest in trades for Kevin Love. So today I'm going to be going through some of the 5 trades that I came up with for him at different destinations. So as a little bit of background, Kevin Love this year is averaging 16 points per game, 10 rebounds, and he is looking to get the heck out of Cleveland. So let's start with the first trade scenario I have. This is the one that everybody's talked about the most, and it makes a lot of sense for a few different reasons. It's Kevin Love to the Portland Trail Blazers. The main reason is because he's from like the Oregon, Upper California area. He'd be very close to home. Um, he also fits in well with what the Blazers need. They need more spacing and more scoring options, and he provides that as a power forward or center. I have the Blazers sending their 2020 first round pick to Cleveland along with Hassan Whiteside's expiring contract. So what's Cleveland getting in this trade? They're essentially getting $30 million of cap space for next offseason along with a first round pick for a team that will probably still finish below 500. Kevin Love isn't going to be getting a ton in return in these trades, mainly because he's a 31-year-old on a massive contract whose production has been slightly decreasing over the years. So I think for Cleveland, a lot of what I'm looking for is to get them salary cap relief because after this season, Kevin Love still has 3 more years of earning $30 million. So I think for Cleveland, what I sought out a lot of times was a lot of cap relief and draft assets because I don't think Cleveland's going to get many like young, really good players in return for a guy who's already past his best seasons and has on a huge contract. So just be aware of that as we go forward. The second trade I have is Kevin Love to the Nuggets. I think another team that could really use a more solid second option. And I think Kevin Love could provide that over what they have right now. So I have the Nuggets trading Millsap and their 2022 first round pick for Kevin Love. The contracts here basically match, and Paul Millsap is on an expiring contract. So again, Cleveland this offseason would basically be getting $30 million in additional cap space along with a first round pick. And the Nuggets get Kevin Love, who at this point is a better player than Paul Millsap. He plays worse defense, but much better offense. I think he's a really good addition side by side with Jokic too, because he can space the floor really well. And Jokic is a really good ball handler and passer for a center. I think Kevin Love could get plenty of open looks from Jokic attracting a lot of attention in the high post or low post, and then him dishing it out to Love for like a corner three. This team would have premier spacing between Jokic and Love down low, and then the wings of like Murray, Gary Harris, and either Porter or Will Barton. So I think it'd be a really smart move for both teams. Next on this, I have Kevin Love going to the going to the Dallas Mavericks. So a similar thing with Dallas, I think, to Denver, in that like if they got Kevin Love, they'd have really good spacing in their big man positions between him and Porzingis, kind of like a similar pairing to Jokic and Love, but even less posting up in Dallas. But with Kevin Love, you'd have him, Porzingis, Doncic, all guys that can space the floor relatively well, just continue to create more space for their offense. And you also have Marjanovic if you want a more traditional big man presence down low to protect the paint, who you can sub in for either Love or Porzingis. As for Cleveland, I have them getting back a second round pick for this upcoming draft, along with Tim Hardaway Jr. and Dwight Powell. The reason that I withheld a first round pick was because I felt like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Dwight Powell have more to offer than the other players that Cleveland's gotten in return, because neither of these two guys are on expiring deals. Hardaway's deal will expire after next season, but he still is under contract for this and next year. And then Dwight Powell's on a really reasonable 4-year, contract for $10 million. That's really good value for what he brings to the table. He could be ideally like 10 points, 10 rebounds a game. And Tim Hardaway Jr. on Cleveland would probably be averaging around 16 to 17 points per game. So like a little bit more valuable than I think some of the players would be giving in the previous two trade scenarios I came up with. So for that reason, I didn't also give Cleveland a first round pick because I feel like a second is more appropriate for what the Mavericks would be willing to give up in this scenario. The next trade I have is between Cleveland and Minnesota. I have Kevin Love returning to the Timberwolves in exchange for Jeff Teague, who's an expiring contract, and Gorgie Jang and a 2021 first round pick. So in this trade, again, I have the T-Wolves giving up a first round pick because I feel like Cleveland would demand that based on the players they're getting back. And again, it's essentially another just basically dump of salary for Cleveland to get cap relief and draft assets. So as I say, they get the first round pick. After this season, Jeff Teague's 19 million will be off the books, and then after next year, Gorgie Jang's 16 will be off the books. So that's clearing up $35 million in 2 seasons, whereas with Love, you'd have that $30 million on the books for the next 4 seasons. So they're basically getting $35 million 2 seasons earlier than they would be with Love, and they're also getting a first round pick out of it to try and rebuild and go forward. And then lastly here, I think this is maybe the best trade scenario for the team acquiring Kevin Love, which is the Miami Heat. I think the Heat are really in need of a really solid second option. They have a lot of good supporting pieces that have actually come up out of nowhere, like Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, Justice Winslow, Bam Adebayo, a lot of really good young guys, but I feel like they don't have that one guy that can step up, score like 18 points a game, and be the second option. And I think that that's what Kevin Love could be. So I have the Heat getting Kevin Love in exchange for Goran Dragic, Myers Leonard, and a 2020 first round pick. Very similar to the Timberwolves trade I just covered. Dragic and Myers Leonard both have expiring deals though, and those add up to 30 million. So this coming offseason, the Cavs would be clearing up 30 million additional dollars in cap space, and then also getting a first round pick. So yeah, basically in every trade I had here, it was the Cavs trading Love for freeing up cap space, and then also a first round pick. And I think that's just the reality of Kevin Love's place right now in the NBA is that what you're going to get back for a 31-year-old declining star who isn't very athletic anymore isn't going to be as good as you think, especially when he's on a huge contract. So I think that really limits what the Cavs can get in return for Love. I do think that he still offers value as like a third option on a championship level team or on even just a really good contending team, which is what I had for him on like the Mavericks or even Denver if you consider Jamal Murray the second option. But overall, I like Kevin Love going to each of these teams, and I feel like Cleveland gets a pretty fair compensation for him based on what the market would be willing to bear for Kevin Love's value. So there you have it, guys. My third Kevin Love video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you next time. Have a good day. Bye.